Okay, well, welcome everybody to the June meeting of the Austin Herb Society. I'm the president, Karen Kalergis. The Austin Herb Society is one of many of the Austin area garden council clubs that work out of Zilker Botanical Garden and work in Zilker Botanical Garden. And we're happy to have you with us. The Austin Herb Society is all about herbs, how to use them in your landscapes, how to use them for culinary purposes, medicinally, and in arts and crafts. Today's program is called an Herbal Bouquet. And here to tell you all about our program today and introduce our speakers is Aline Guillot. So I will turn it over to Aline.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to have everybody here. We have for our June meeting, as we've done for the last few years, what we call an Herbal Bouquet, where several of our members give little shorter presentations about various herbs and projects that they're working on. This morning, we have three speakers. Excuse me. Jennifer Chichester is going to be talking. Jennifer is an early retiree here a couple of years ago who moved to Austin, has had a passion for gardening since she was a young child, and she's one of our most enthusiastic new members of our programs committee. Jennifer is going to be talking about basil or basil and the Indian name for some of the types of basil that she's working with. So we'll hear from her shortly. The final speaker that we're going to have is Kate Alsobrook, who's a longtime member. Kate has over 40 years of experience in gardening here in Austin. She's been an Herb Society member since 2012, and she loves to use herbs in culinary ways as a kind of a fellowship thing. She loves to have people over to her house and they drink herbal teas, or she serves light lunches based on the herbs that she just pulls from her garden. But the important thing, I believe, for her is in the sharing of that food and the fellowship that comes with it. And she's going to be talking about the herb of the year this year, which is parsley. And for our first speaker, we're going to have Sandra Holland. And Sandra has been a member for quite a while. She's a master gardener. She got her master gardener certificate back in 2000. And she is a long-term member of Herb Society here. She served in many capacities. Sandra grew up in Metairie, Louisiana.
Wow. I just want to thank you all for allowing me to share some of my little creations with you. And until we can all get together and meet, I wish you all peace and a beautiful herb garden.
Thank you so much, Sandra. That was a wonderful, fascinating presentation. I can hardly wait to try those ideas. Okay, our next speaker is going to be Jenny Chichester. And Jenny's going to be talking to us about basil or basil, as you prefer. Jenny, take it away, my dear.
Oh, thank you. That was such a sweet presentation by Sandra. I love it. So good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Jennifer Chichester, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity of sharing with you my little knowledge of basil, with emphasis on holy basil, which we call tulsi. Right. Now, what is basil? Basil is an annual herb of the mint family, which I really didn't realize before. It's a mint family, and I discovered it's commonly called sweet basil, the botanical name Ocimum basilicum. It's believed that basil is a native of India. That's where they trace it back to. And there are varying types of basils, and the leaves have varying aromas, and they're grown all around the world now and used as kitchen herb. The leaves can be used fresh or dried to flavor up meats or fish or sauces, salads, pasta, rice, stir fries, pesto, I said salads, and of course teas. It is said that there are like about 50 to 150 species of varying aroma. There's sweet basil, which is mild. Then there's the Thai basil, which has a strong aroma. And basils come in varying colors also. And the stems are of different colors, like the Thai, it has soft green leaves and purple stem. I have one a lovely basil with, it's very frilly in the leaves. It's like a burgundyish, purplish one. I can't remember the name. I'm in New York now, so I couldn't run out and see the name of that basil. And I've not used it in cooking as yet. Anyhow, basils are many and varying and amazing. My favorite, anyhow, for its aroma is the tulsi, which is known as holy basil. Now, I've been in the United States over 35 years now, you know, a few decades, well, in New York, where I am presently, but I moved to Austin just over 2 years ago. But I came from a tea culture. I came from South America, British Guyana. And in British Guyana, well, they brought their teas, but the majority of the population, they're East Indian descent. My mom was born, she's from Jaipur in Rajasthan. And so we're accustomed to tea. But when I came here, it wasn't the craze till about over 10 years ago. All of a sudden, all these health teas, and so they became very popular. And there were shows like Dr. Oz. I would see them talk on teas, and they would talk about this holy basil. I've never heard of holy basil. And I couldn't imagine drinking, you know, I thought of basil as the thing, the savory thing we cook with. And I couldn't imagine drinking a basil tea. Until one day in Manhattan, I went to the Indian shops, and I always gravitate to the tea section, and I saw holy basil. So I said, oh, here we are, but it had slash tulsi. Then I realized in Brooklyn, in my veranda, I had tulsi growing. All Indians, we love growing tulsi. And I had tulsi. I never knew tulsi was called holy basil, never knew it was a basil. That was, you know, education for me. Anyhow, excuse me. Now tulsi, or forgive me if I would say tulsi, because I'm accustomed to that, but I mean holy basil. It's a sacred plant. At home, I know it's very sacred, and you find all the Hindus have it in their yard because it is said to, you know, bring good luck and good presence and good fortune into your home. So from the time you enter the gate, you can, you know, it grows as bush. By the way, tulsi grows wild, of course, dispersal of seeds. It grows all in the parapet. When we were kids going to school, you go down the parapet. Americans use different English. Sidewalk, let's say sidewalk, and you rub your hand and you sniff it, and it makes you feel relaxing, you know. It gives you a lovely feeling with the aroma. And I guess, you know, I never knew the scientific value at that time. Anyhow, in Indian culture, Lord Krishna, which is one of the Hindu divinities, he loved tulsi. So the presence of him, you know, of tulsi is awesome. They use it in puja, in prayers, and I told you it's near the front gate. It's near also their Hindu temples and all the Hindu schools, Indian schools, very popular. Now this herb, which we grew up taking for granted, is called the queen of all herbs. Its roots, its leaves, and seeds consist of medicinal properties. It's used widely in Ayurvedic and naturopathic medicines, which is very useful, of course, in natural healing. This holy basil has numerous benefits and beneficial properties. It's used in weight loss, in treating of thyroid, in diabetes. It's used in steaming. You steam it and inhale it to get rid of bad colds and sinuses. It helps with anxiety and stress because it calms you. It contains compounds that balance the neurotransmitters, which is serotonin and dopamine. So it relieves anxiety and it improves the mood. It also helps in cholesterol lowering of the bad one. And it has lutein, which is an antioxidant carotenoid that is very important for eye benefits. Now, there are three types of tulsi. The Rama tulsi, which is the light purple flowers. It has a clove-like, a mellow flavor or fragrance, you may call it. And then there's the Krishna tulsi. Notice these are names, Ram and Krishna, they're all names of Hindu gods also. So that's why it's useful. No wonder the name holy basil. It's where it's from. It's something considered very holy and sacred. And so anyhow, so this Krishna has purple leaves and also a clove-like aroma. Now this one, it has a peppery taste also, and it helps to cure throat infection, respiratory problems, ear aches. The oil, they make the oil and it's used as ear drops, and it's good for skin diseases, also malaria, indigestion, insomnia, and cholera. Then there is the Vana tulsi. Well, that's the one, it seems common to us. That is very fragrant to me. It's light green in leaves, the color, and it's a little strong, and it has like a lemery, spicy aroma and flavor. Now, it's used a lot. This is the one mainly, Lord Krishna loves this one, and this is the one mainly used for religious purposes. Actually, it seems this is maybe the only one we have in my country, because at the Zilker Botanical Garden, I saw tulsi last week, and I smelled last year when we went to uproot plants, and it didn't smell like tulsi. So I thought it was a cross. Maybe it was just a different variety, right? So, you know, it varies, but this is the type that I know, the Vana tulsi. Now, its tea increases immunity, provides lots of healing benefits, such as it increases physical and mental endurance. It adds more oxygen and nutrients to the bloodstream. And it is said in Western medicine that it's just generally said, Western medicine gives instant relief, but side effects, a lot of side effects, whereas holy basil offers slow relief, but surely no side effects. That's why it's called the wonder herb. Tulsi, or holy basil, is safe on the skin as a skin cream, or consumed as a tea, or applied on the skin. It's good. It cures skin infection and any allergies. It also lightens spots, like brightens up the skin, the face, and so. It improves the skin texture because it tightens pores. It's good for the hair also. It's good for breakage. It reduces grayness. It keeps the hair thick. It reduces dandruff. It prevents dry scalp. And of course, I had said before, it helps in weight loss because there's a natural ingredient that aids in weight loss. 2 cups of tulsi tea per day gives no side effects, but it controls the metabolism and helps the body absorb the natural nutrients. So I guess that's how it helps with the weight loss a lot. It boosts indigestion. And, it boosts the, I put a few notes so that I wouldn't forget or anything to mention. Anyhow, it helps boost the digestive system. You know, of course, that's why also I can see it helping in weight loss. Now, the tea consists of 0 calories, although it boosts stamina. And also tulsi is very good for the eyes. You know, the everyday pollution and dust and so sometimes can take an effect on the eye and give you eye-related problems. But if you make a nice eye wash with tulsi, it's very soothing. It reduces the eye strain. And they say if you soak tea leaves in hot water overnight and wash your eyes feel more relaxed, and it can prevent boils and conjunctivitis. Now, tulsi also prevents premature aging. 2 cups a day, it's laden with vitamin A and C, and polynutrients and also antioxidant properties. Tulsi helps to fight cancer. It helps people quit smoking. Chewing a few Tulsi leaves can help get rid of nicotine in the body. No wonder growing up, if my cousins come and visit, we didn't smoke in the home or encourage that. But my bigger cousins will smoke, and on the way they grab Tulsi and chew. They're always chewing Tulsi leaves. I never knew it was to hide the fragrance, the scent of the cigarette, I guess. Yeah. So anyhow, Tulsi also is used to, yes, so it helps to stop the craving of nicotine, of cigarette. It cures fever. It's used to treat insect bites, heart diseases, respiratory problems, sore throats, headaches, kidney stones, asthma, and it's said to be a very good painkiller. Right. So this holy basil, it's called the ancient healer of all and helps generate healthy milk for mothers during lactation. Now, because of the amazing benefits of Tulsi or holy basil, in India, where it's from, many people, well, I told you before, they worship it, they offer it up to the god as a thank you because they believe it's a miracle working plant, which it seems it does. All in all, Tulsi or holy basil is wonderful. And it also, a few years ago, I made a wonderful discovery. And what I discovered was, look, these are little sachet bags. Guess what? I found a tulsi plant. Well, it's in Brooklyn at a place, and you don't normally find it in America here. So for the first time, some years ago, I found it, and I had it grown in my veranda in Brooklyn. So at the end, I collected the seeds, the leaves, the stalks, which have the seeds in it, and these thingies. And so I had it in a dish, hoping that it would dry out. And so in the laundry room, and I kept going and I left it there. It was like potpourri sitting in a dish. And every time I go in, this room smelled amazing. Would you believe this thing smelled? I had it there, kept it for a long time, like months, and it still remained with the fragrance. I normally would put it in a bag to get the seeds. It was there. So I thought I can make potpourri. So I made, I put it in, I can make sachet, as how you have lavender in the sachet. I bought fabric and I created my sachet, and I have it in Austin till now for years. That is about maybe 7, 8, it seems it doesn't lose its fragrance. So why I brought it and didn't throw it out, because I wanted to, see how long it would last. It's amazing. Also, I decided I'll show you, ooh, look, I made wreath. Are you able to see that? Look. Now, tulsi can be used, well, what I used to create the wreath, well, you know what winter we had. I had to pull out one of my trees which died, and the root was worn and malleable. So I created the wreath. And, I used the tulsi. You can color, if you want to color the flowers and add it, or you just make it and it smells good all the time. And if you have it in a bathroom where you're going to hang it like a wreath, that's if you love the smell, of course. When you're having the moisture from your shower, it enhances the flavor, I think, the fragrance. And when you go in there, oh, the aroma of the tulsi, I love it. It's relaxing to me. So there are so many things you can use with tulsi. It's a very amazing and long lasting, and it doesn't seem to disintegrate, because I've had sachet of lavender, and after a while you have to empty it, it becomes dust. I'm still experimenting. They're still the same. So it seems it is a wonder herb. And I thank you. I hope I didn't take too much time. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Jennifer. You really did give us a very interesting talk today. I learned a lot. I didn't know. I'm going to have to go start growing Tulsi immediately here for all kinds of purposes.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, when we think about a lot of people I know or friends of mine are suffering from allergies with the pollen season right now. The eye wash would be a great idea for that.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, it's been wonderful. And now we have our final speaker, who is going to be our, what do I want to say? She's just such a wonderful contributor to our society. Kate Alsobrook is going to talk to us about parsley. And that will conclude our presentation after Kate finishes. So go ahead, Kate, take it away, dear.
Well, I decided to move outside. It's not a glorious day yet, but it's not raining. Parsley is an herb that's so easy to grow. I think everybody has grown it, and we feel comfortable growing it because we just put it in the ground and up it comes, and you get nice big clumps. And here it lasts for at least 2 years. That is the leaf parsley. One of the things that you can do with parsley is cook with it, of course, but I like using it in bouquets. I like just having a clump of parsley around the kitchen. Right now, I am enjoying something. I don't know if you can see it well or not. It's a green drink, and it's just made from orange juice and parsley. And that's all I put in my orange juice and parsley. Actually, not even orange juice, orange and parsley, and grind it all up. And it, for me, I leave all the crunchies in it. I don't try to undo it or strain it out, but you can strain it out because it gets a little. To show you something that happens to that happens this time of year if it's in your second year of having your parsley. And sometimes this freaks people out and they think that they can't eat their parsley because leaf parsley will grow up and you pinch the leaves and just huge giant stem. I'm unable to see it. But you get this giant stem coming up. Now, when a lot of plants get this kind of stem, their leaves change flavor. But parsley, doesn't your parsley in cooking or just pinch it off and eat it? And you can also use the little seeds, which are going to.
Kate, I hate to interrupt you, but you're buffering and we're losing your connection. You need to go back inside where you have a steady internet connection.
Am I there?
Now you are.
Hello?
Hello, Kate. Now you're here.
Okay. I have no idea. You know, I have to do this from my phone, so I have no idea when it works and doesn't work. So thank you for telling me. Okay, so back to the green juice. The green juice is wonderful. Parsley for green juice. You wake up every morning. It's called a parsley sunrise. And if you want to, you could put something else in it besides just your parsley. I don't know what's happening.
Your phone is still cutting out. Now we see you again.
Can you, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening either. I don't have a computer, so I have to do this on phone. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'll try not to move.
Yes.
Okay, so parsley is one of those herbs that we all have, we all use in our cooking, and it's used in a large variety of cookings around the world. But there's a kind of parsley that most of us haven't grown. I hadn't. It's called root parsley. Root parsley is different from leaf parsley in that it has leaves, it makes big leaves, and you can eat them, but they're a little bitter. But you grow the root and it takes a long time to grow. You plant the seed in the fall, and then you have to wait until almost the next fall to harvest it for the root. But you can cook the root. It's very much like a parsnip, and it's got a flavor that's closer to celery. You can flavor it in soups like you would with a parsnip or turnips or anything like that. You could use it that same way. It's better cooked than it is raw, but I have had it pickled, which is interesting. So we're used to flat leaf parsley, which is also called Italian parsley, and which is used in cooking. And we're used to curly leaf parsley, which is also used in a lot of cooking. And one of the things when I first started thinking about talking about parsley was my neighbor said, well, you only use parsley as a garnish. And I thought about how often you see parsley as a garnish. It's just sitting there on the plate. But did you know that if you pick up that little piece of parsley that's sitting on the edge of the plate and just nibble on it, that it will refresh your breath? It does a very good job of refreshing your breath. And it's also one of those things that has got so many good nutrients in it that you can't eat too much of it. You really can't. It's full of vitamin A and lutein and zeaxanthin, which are things that are in all of your eye medications that you have to take. It's full of folates, vitamin C and vitamin K, calcium, iron, potassium, and zinc. It's a great whole food. The antioxidants and flavonoids help combat any kind of ailment that you might have. It's used often for aiding digestion and for calming any kind of intestinal irritant that's going on. There's not particularly a medication made from it, but a lot of doctors do recommend that you chew on parsley, eat parsley, or make a green drink with parsley to help with passing kidney stones or if you have bladder infections. It also helps improve the appetite of people who may be losing their appetite due to gastrointestinal irritants or some other kind of chemotherapy type of process that they're having to go through. So it's a good hearty food for you to eat, not just an herb that's for decoration or for on the plate. It also in your garden has a great benefit. It attracts swallowtail butterflies. And you'll see in the late summer, these little caterpillars climbing all over there, these little striped caterpillars, and they'll be everywhere, all over your parsley plant, munching away, munching away. Don't pinch them and throw them away. They're about to become little larvae, or maybe they are the larvae when they're caterpillars. They're about to cocoon themselves up, and when they emerge, they will be swallowtail butterfly. And last year, they ate that parsley that we were looking at right down to the nub. And I thought, oh dear, I've lost my parsley, but that's okay. You have to feed the critters. Well, that parsley you can see, or maybe you couldn't, but it came back. It's huge. And now it's in its second year, so it's going to bolt and go to seed. But I'm still using it. I still cook with it. I still take it out every day. I have a little nibble, and I enjoy a green drink, a sunrise, without tequila. I think you can see the green. Now, you also see parsley a lot in Lebanese food. One of my favorite Lebanese foods is, now I hope you can see this. It is tabbouleh, and you just make your tabbouleh with your tomatoes, your cucumbers, lots of parsley and lots of mint. Lebanese tabbouleh does not have much bulgur in it. A big bowl of it will have maybe a quarter of a cup. I used 2 teaspoons in this bowl, and this is a pretty small bowl. And then I serve it just on a bed of greens, and I serve with it falafels, which I've made, which also feature parsley as a major ingredient. Now, parsley combines with your garbanzo beans and makes that pretty green color. When you go to have a falafel, if you do not see that pretty green color, they were using dried parsley and not very much of it. You need to use fresh parsley to get that bright green color. The other thing that you have on this little plate is something that I made. It is called granata. It's an Italian garnish. And they say that you have to make it in a mortar and pestle. It cautions you not to do it in a blender. Now, I've had it in a restaurant and it was almost like a salad dressing. And what the literature says is that that's not true granata. You can take a granata, all it has in it is parsley and lemon zest, a little lemon juice, and garlic. And it's very important, they say, that you mash the garlic by hand and not in a blender because you don't want to bruise it. And you have to use very, very fresh garlic, because if you don't, you're not going to get the fresh biting taste of the garlic. You can very easily take this same recipe and go to Argentina and add a little EVOO and some oregano and some chili pepper and have yourself a nice chimichurri. Or you can decide you're going to use this same recipe and you're going to add some EVOO and some pepper and some walnuts and make yourself a really nice lemon pepper parsley pesto. But me, I'm going to sit back right now and enjoy this plate of nice, delicious food. And I did have a little bit of pork left over, and so I put some of the granata on it. I'm going to let this go right back to our group, and then I'm going to sit and enjoy my brunch while I listen to the rest of you talk. I want to thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm sorry that the connection was so iffy from time to time and it wasn't able to spend more time out in the garden, but hey, there you have it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Kate. What a fine ending to our very fascinating presentation today. I know everybody really enjoyed it. We have a lot of comments, and I'm going to start with the comments in order that they happened, which is beginning with Sandra, then comments about Jenny's presentation, and finally yours, Kate. So you have time for a few bites while we're talking about other people's presentations. And if we come upon you and you're chewing, that's okay. We'll just be jealous. We won't think it's a problem.
I'll try to be circumspect.
Chew discreetly, right?
Right.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to go to the questions and present them. Here's a question. The first question is for Sandra from Danielle Mundel. And she says, Sandra, where did you find the tiny vase pin shown at the very beginning? I think you said you got it somehow through the Herb Society, but I don't remember.
Yes, yes, many, many years ago, we had some merchandise, and this was one of the pins. And I didn't put it on because I wanted you to see. Can you see that? How it's tiny, but it does hold one rosebud or a few sprigs of lavender.
Nice, I like that.
That is lovely. Thank you, Sandra. Let's see. We have, oh, Danielle also asked another question. She wants to know, are there any tips on do you have any tips on getting certified as a master gardener? And that may be something you just want to refer her to another.
Yes, go to the extension office. Now, I will say this, I had to give up my master gardener certification several years ago. I got into the elder care for my in-laws, and I no longer could keep up my volunteer hours, but it's an education. It really is. And if you go to the extension office, they can tell you how to apply. I imagine right now they probably aren't having classes, but I think that will, they'll have them.
All right. We have a lot of wonderful comments, Sandra. I won't read them all, but everybody really enjoyed your presentation. I can tell you that.
Oh, we have all of these little things, these little containers, and they're up in the cabinets or down in the cabinets or somewhere. And it makes it real interesting. And I just love doing little things like this. And, you know, to give to a friend and our new neighbor with a plate of cookies and talk about the herbs. And that is an introduction. I have a lot of friends and a lot of neighbors, their hands have never touched dirt, poor souls, you know, they don't garden.
That's
And
true.
this is like, well, where did those come from? Where did you buy those? I said, they came out the backyard. And when you walked up to my front door, you walked past the oregano. So, I mean, there you go. It's just a great opportunity to introduce a non-herby to herbs. Now, whether they will join the club or whatever, it's a good way to start a conversation and create a friendship.
All right, thank you very much. Those are the comments for Sandra. And as I said, there were a lot of them. Sandra, you just can read them in the chat section for yourself, what people had to say. Our next speaker, of course, was Jennifer Chichester. Sorry for getting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, Jennifer. We have a lot of comments from people who talked about the basil that she was talking about. Autumn says that she loves Tulsi herself, has about 8 plants right now, and says it's very yummy in a smoothie with lemon verbena.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, one of the types of basil you mentioned, I don't know if it was one of the Tulsis or another one, does also have kind of a lemony flavor. So that would be good.
Yeah.
Another thing, let's see. Judith mentioned something about how purple ruffles basil is maybe something that she got a cutting of last spring from the Zilker garden. Bob mentioned that they've been growing opal basil, and he'd seen spring rolls made with purple basil leaves, nasturtium blossoms, and shrimp. Well, put anything with shrimp and you got a success there. One of our visitors asked, how is the name Holy Basil spelled? And she got an answer that it's Tulsi from several people. And Autumn mentioned, again, Jennifer, with what you said, she says it's a fabulous adaptogen herb and one of her favorite teas. And I think you didn't use the term adaptogen, but from what you said about it, it sounds like it's so flexible and so good for so many things that it adapts itself to whatever we need it to be. We do have a question from Bonnie Orr. Do you know if Tulsi is safe with other medications?
Well, that's the thing I was trying to research. What we know, you know, people will use it along with their medication, but if you're using like medication for cholesterol, if the doctors give you and you're using a lot of the Tulsi every day along with it, I think still people should ask their doctor, but the doctors will never tell you if you mention, should I use Tulsi to rub? They're not allowed, you see, to say yes or no, because they have to sell the pharmaceuticals, of course, the company. But then in my country, people would use if they have a problem and they use it, and I've never heard anything negative. Among even in America here in New York, they use Tulsi teas, and so I guess it's individual, or you still should ask the doctor in case they know. You never can tell if it's safe to use herbal tonics with whatever you're using at the moment. So
Autumn also bolstered that opinion, and she said Tulsi should be safe with medications with no major contraindications, no major indications against. Right. But again, all herbalists must say that you should consult with your doctor. So that was really good about that. Now they want our cholesterol to be in the double-digit figures now. So I would suspect, you know, like if your cholesterol is 100, oh, that's too high, says the doctor. You need more statin drugs. Oh yes, I've had them say things like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you're taking Tulsi.
Yeah.
I know.
The thing is that what it said, there's no recording of any side effects of Tulsi. So
absolutely,
that's the thing. There's no science proof or so. So
Okay, well, we've got a lot of, again, good comments from people. Everyone saying thank you. Jenny, great information. Thanks, Jenny. Lots of we finally go to Kate's presentation. Kate, are you finished chewing here for a minute?
I'll pause.
Oh, good. Thank you, my dear. You froze up out in the garden. Your video froze and your audio froze too. And I missed the part where you were going to be talking about the 2-year cycle of parsley and this year to get the seeds and what to do with that. So can you repeat that briefly?
Sure. I'm sorry. The flat leaf parsley and the curly leaf parsley, the 2 leaf parsleys that we use, the leaves in our cooking and our potpourri sometimes, but mostly in our medicinal uses in our cooking, are biannuals in this climate. That means they're going to live for 2 years before they go to seed. So I rotate planting them so that every year I have one that's coming along that's going to get big and fluffy. But in that second year, especially the curly leaf parsley. Now, the flat leaf parsley does the same thing, but the curly leaf parsley just goes, whoa, I'm going to puff up and get really big. And then you'll see starting up the middle, a stem that's bigger and thicker than the others. And you know, when basil does that, you want to clip it back so it keeps bushing up and doesn't change the flavor. But with parsley, you don't want to do that because it takes a long time for those seeds to grow and to form. And it doesn't affect the flavor of the leaves. You can use the leaves all the way through the seed making process. So it will send up its stalks and it will make seeds. And I'm not sure what's happening. Am I still there? My screen has very strange things on it. That's okay.
I think Karen switched to share screen in preparation for something, but that's all right.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, I don't care.
You're back.
So it will go to seed, and it takes a long time for it to go to seed. It'll sit there, and you'll see the little teeny green seedlets starting to form, and it takes months for it to actually get to where you've got a seed, and then longer for it to get to the dried seed, which you'd want to save if you want to plant it again. But you're going to have to understand the birdies will like some too. So take what you want for planting and share with the birdies. But you can also use it in decorative bouquets, or put the seed in food, sprinkle it on top like you would a sesame seed, or grind it into a juice. It's really good, and it's still got all of the antioxidants and all of the vitamins and nutritional content.
Thank you, Kate, for repeating that. We have one final.
Could you hear about the root parsley when I was outside? Did that? Yeah. That's a totally different monkey.
We heard about the root parsley.
Okay.
One final question, and it was actually from Sylvia to everyone. Is African blue basil good for culinary purposes? But she's been answered by Danielle, who says she's put a few leaves into pesto. It's kind of strong tasting, so maybe mix it with other types of basil or leaves like chard to offset the bitterness. And we're going to close out with that. We're going to close out our question and answer session because we do have business to attend to in the meeting. But thank you to all of our speakers. 100% interesting. And I'll turn it back over now. Whoops. Why do I have Susan Norwood about to speak?
Can you hear me? Am I muted?
Who are you, Betty?
Betty.
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, I'm sorry.